Richard Martinez here. Now we're going to get into this next section. We're talking about communication. How important is this training? And we already laid down the foundation of what communication is, why it's so important, how it's a message being sent and received as it was sent. And we can get so effective, so good that even though they suck at listening and they're rebels and don't want to lead and don't want to, be led, you will still be able to do it because you understand these things. Right? We talked about how communicating to people it's an art, and how we need to identify somebody's personality so that we can talk to them the way they want to be talked to, not how we would want to be talked to, right? So we asked the question, are they inward or are they outward? This is the game changer question right here, because once you ask that, once you type that into your brain will start to look for it, and whatever you look for, you will find. So now you're going to find if they're inward or outward, if they're introverted or if they're extroverted. So once you do that, you do number 2, you mirror and match them, right? You make them feel comfortable, familiar, like, hey, you're kind of like them. You mirror and match them. As you get closer to them, you'll be able to see what kind of animal they are. If they're a rhino, a lovebird, or owl, or a sheep, now you can use keywords, you can talk their language, and now you just have them. They feel fully understood by you. They trust you. They feel comfortable around you, all because you identified if they're inward or outward, you mirrored and matched. You identified their animal and spoke straight to the animal. So number 1, ask if they're inward or outward. Number 2, mirror and match. Number 3, speak to their animal. Now let's get to the third part here. Now let's get into communication when it comes to leadership, because we're communicating to lead and to sell, right? So this was important, the personalities, because you can communicate and sell to anybody understanding the personalities. But now let's get more specific into how to use your communication to lead your people. Whether it's to lead your home, your family, to lead your business, to lead your team, to lead, other leaders, other influencers. Leadership is influence, right? So when we understand their personalities and drop down the defenses, we can have a lot more influence there. When we understand different elements, the different things that we need to do when it comes to being a leader, an effective leader, now we can communicate, use this skill set in our leadership and be even more effective, even more powerful to create more results. So let's talk about these 3 things when it comes to habits, behaviors, things that these are like systems that you need to integrate into your lifestyle. Leadership is not just something you do Monday through Friday or when you're in a meeting. Leadership is a lifestyle, and it's something that you have to integrate into everything that you're doing. And I'm gonna share with you what things that are key, what things are important when it comes to your leadership, so that you can level up in your leadership, so that people follow you like wholeheartedly, where they're all in, where they're like on the front lines for you, not doing just enough just to get by, not doing just enough to keep their job, not doing just enough to, not get their phone taken away or get a timeout, right? But they want to do it because you've influenced them in a way where they don't feel like they have to, but rather they want to. And when we can use our communication in a way where we influence them, where they want to do it, no matter what it is, we're gonna get better quality work. Like, just think about yourself. When you don't want to do something, but you have to do it, you'll do it, but you do it dragging your feet, even with a bad attitude. You don't put all that you are into what you're doing there because you don't really want to do it, but you have to. So you do, right? On the other hand, when you have those things that you want to do, now all of a sudden it's like you're excited to do it, right? You're up early, you're there late because you want to do it. So you get a whole different quality of work from your people when you know how to influence them to want to do it rather than have to do it. And that's what effective communication does. So not only are you going to lead them better, but you're going to get them to produce higher quality work because of the level of influence that you have. So I'm going to be talking about 6 different systems that you need to create in these 3 steps. 6 systems that you need to integrate into your life to become an effective leader. Okay? Now, when it comes to these things right here, this is systems, okay? These are things that need to be done over and over, not just you do it one time and try it out and then that's it. This is something that's a lifestyle here. So let's get into this leadership here. Number 1, envision and enlist. Envision and enlist. So to envision means you use the power of your words as a leader to paint a better future, to help them to see a better tomorrow, to show them how excited the future is going to be by you using your words to create their world in their imagination. So there's power in seeing things, right? Like you've heard it, like if you can see it, you can believe it and achieve it. Like whatever the mind sees and believes can achieve, right? So there's something very powerful that we need to understand when it comes to our brains, that when we're leading people, to help them to see what you want them to accomplish. It's envisioning them. So you're using your words to create their future world. You're helping them to see. And the more that you say it in detail and say it with excitement and enthusiasm, the more impact it's going to have on them. It's going to get them excited to want to do it as well. Because if you share, hey guys, we're going to hit some goals today, so I want you guys to stay focused and get those numbers. We need to produce. It's not really exciting. It's not connected to them. Like it's just about you making them work to keep their job, right? Like it's not exciting for them and their goals. You got to connect it to them, their personality, their goals, their future, to really get that leverage to keep them motivated and producing at a high state, right? So we need to understand how to envision them. You as a leader on a daily basis need to envision your team or envision whoever you want to follow you. So what does that look like? Whether it's in a business meeting where you have a meeting and you're sharing the goals for the week or for the month, but in an excited way with enthusiasm. Like you're excited about the future, even the challenges, the things, like you're helping them to see themselves to do it. Like even using detail, right? Like imagine yourself, picking up that phone call and you're standing up and you have good, energy and you have a smile on your face and you're talking to them with confidence and you're able to close that deal. And you do many of those. And because of that, you get that check, on that day, and you open that check and it's a heavy check, like so heavy that you can't even pick, like you're envisioning them and that what's important for them. And if you understand their personalities already, that we already talked about, now you can use more specific things that that resonate with them, that's important for them. Okay, so envision them. And we know how important this is because we're dealing with people that get freaking distracted, right? They're working and they get a text and they get a phone call and you're like, hey, focus. Or your kids, right? Or your family or your friends. People get distracted because there's so many things going on to consume with media, with people, with bird, whatever. Like there's so many things that are around to distract. So we as leaders, we want to communicate to lead and to sell. We got to keep their attention. So every day you're using your words to show them, even if you already told them yesterday, even if you already had the orientation, even if you already told your kids, last week. No, you keep telling them because there's a lot of competition that you have as a leader of what's staying in their mind. So it's your job to keep envisioning them in an excited way. You're not just getting down, telling them, bro, you got to do this. That just kills their excitement too. Envision them in an exciting way and show like how their goals, how their desires, how their things are going to be met on the way over there. Like how they're going to benefit and share, envision them, help them to see themselves doing the work, help them to see themselves getting the results, help them to see themselves enjoying the process, help them to see themselves, making money to do something with their future. Like you envisioning them helps them to see it. So if they can see it, they can believe it and achieve it. That's your job as their leader to continually do that. So figure out what is your system to do that. That's going to be the call to action at the end of this part right here. You need to create your system for each of these things. And when I say system, that means that it's scheduled, that it's consistent, that it's important, that it's going to keep happening all the time. Not just every once in a while, not when it's convenient, not when you can, not when you have time. This is something that's a non-negotiable. These are systems that need to be put in place in your life, whether it's your home or your workplace. This is going to help you to communicate better, to lead and to sell. They have to be systematized, where it's just a part of your life. So how are you going to envision the people that you want to follow? When are you going to do it? You write this stuff down. When are you going to envision? How long are you going to do it for? Are you going to do it for 10, 15 minutes? Are you going to do it for an hour? Maybe that's too long. Like, who are you talking to? Who are your audience? What are you going to get them excited about? How are you going to say it? What are you going to wear? What kind of face are you going to say it with? Right? What kind of energy? What kind of movement? Where are you going to do it? You're going to have a whiteboard. Are you going to have a PowerPoint? It's like, get clear on what your system is going to be and how you're going to envision those people that you want to follow you. How are you going to do it? Where, when, why, how, who's going to do it, how long, what are the topics? Prepare and do it consistently. Make it a system where you're constantly envisioning those people you want following you. Get them excited with the power of your words. And now that you shared that, you go to the next part. So I just shared all this, like, look, this is what we're gonna do. We're gonna hit this, we're gonna go here, we're gonna do that, right? Get them excited and then say, what do you think? What do you think about that? This is the second part, enlisting. This is you getting their commitment about what you just envisioned them about. You need to get their buy-in. You want them to be committed to go all in to accomplish what you just envisioned them to do, right? Now, in order to get more commitment, this is where I need to stop talking and ask the question, what do you think about this? How do you see yourself doing this? Give me your feedback. How do you see doing this the best way? What are some issues that you see coming up? How can we overcome those things? Now, this is you getting their feedback, okay? So why? This is you enlisting them. When you start thinking about like what enlisting, like when you enlist somebody to the military, like that's a full commitment, right? Like they're signing their life away and committing fully into that mission. And that's the same thing that we want in our leadership when we're envisioning them. We want them to be fully committed to what we just shared with them, what we want them to do. We want them to be fully committed. How do we create commitment in those people that we're leading? By enlisting them, by getting their feedback. Because, write this down, people are more committed to what they help create. People are more committed to what they help create. So allow them to have some speaking time and to help create where you're going. It doesn't mean that you're going to change everything, but just the fact that you asked, that you're listening, that you're even writing those things down, maybe even implementing some of their ideas. I know that not all their ideas are going to be good. Some of them might be ridiculous, but just the fact that you ask and you get their feedback and ask them how they can do these things and how they see themselves doing it, you are creating commitment in them. Because again, people are more committed to what they help create. So you envision them, help them to see the picture, and then you say, okay, how do you see yourself doing it? Give me your feedback. Tell me what you're gonna do. How are you gonna overcome this? And this is you getting their feedback and you getting their commitment. Now then, number two. Now I envision it, right? So what is your system to keep doing that as well? How are you gonna keep enlisting them? How are you gonna keep asking them for their feedback? Maybe that one will be once a week. Maybe it will be every meeting. I don't know. How is it gonna be best working for you? Are you gonna list every Monday? Are you gonna list every morning? Are you gonna list every weekend? Envision. Are you gonna get their feedback every time, or maybe every time you share a big goal, not just the little ones in between? What is your system gonna be? What's gonna work for you and your team? Now we go to the next one, number two, where we example and empower. Example and empower. Okay, so I'm a leader. I'm using the power of my words, my communication to lead, right? To influence and to sell. So I have these people, whether it's my family or my business or anybody that I want to lead, I envision them, I use my power of my words to get them excited about something, and then I ask to get their feedback, to get their commitment. But now, as we're moving forward, I need to be an example. I can't get them excited, tell them what to do, get their commitment, and then say, all right, cool, go do it. No, I need to show them. I can't just get them excited, get their feedback, and then say good luck. I want to show them. I want to give them the example of what I want. I want to set the tone. I want to set the standard, and I want to set it high, right? So this is me being an example, me exempling what I want them to be. So what does that mean? That means I show up on time. I show up early. I show up looking good. I show up with a good energy. I show up, my hygiene, my smile, my teeth are brushed. I'm coming up with an awesome, energy coming in. I'm enthusiastic. I'm clear. I'm getting things done. I'm producing results. All the things that I want them to do, I'm going to do more than them to challenge them and also create more influence for myself. Because if I say, yeah, do this, but I don't do anything, little by little, my influence, the influence that I have over them, that they're seeing me in, is going to go down because they're going to lose respect for me because I'm not a producer. Your repetition will become your reputation. What you do on a consistent basis, you'll be known for. So if you're not doing anything, you're going to be known for that, and you're going to lose respect and lose influence, and you're not going to be an effective leader. You have to be the example. You have to set the standard. You have to produce the results consistently yourself and have them see what you're doing. Show them. Come with me. Let me show you how this is done. Do it in front of them. And then after, get their feedback. What did you see here? This is you developing and training them. They're going to have a lot more love and respect for you, which means more influence, and they're going to produce better results. So envision, enlist, example. You be the example. Now let's talk about empower. Okay, I envision them. This is what you're going to do. I got their feedback. I'm being the example. Now I want to make sure that I empower them, that they're empowered to do the job right. What does that mean? I'm going to go, okay, what is this person's job duties or their task? Or whether it's my kids, the things that they need to do, whoever I'm leading, what are the things that they need to do? What are their tasks? What are their duties? I'm going to get clear on that and see, okay, what do they need to better do that? Do they need other equipment? Do they need material? Do they need platforms or systems or a phone? Or, do they need any type of equipment to help them to do the job better? Or do they need any kind of training to help them to do the job better? This is me as a leader empowering my team to do the job that I'm asking them to do. Because if I'm asking them to do something and they don't have the right equipment, they're going to suffer, right? And now I'm setting them up for failure and for discouragement. So I want to make sure they have all the right equipment, the right training that they need to succeed. So in their job duties, in their tasks, what skill sets can you develop in them to help them to do it better? Or maybe you're not good at those things, so you hire somebody else, like a coach, to come in and train your team or to train your family. Maybe it's okay. If you're not strong in that area, bring somebody else who is. Or maybe somebody within your team is good on that. So you bring them in to bring their skill, and they feel appreciated because you're valuing them, and you're thankful because they're bringing some value to the rest of your team of something that you're not strong in. But the whole point is to make sure that you empower them. You as a leader, that's really important for you to continually give them the development, to give them the right tools, the right systems that they need to do the job that you're asking them to do. Set them up for success by empowering them. Okay, so envision them, using the power of your words, getting their commitments, enlisting them. You being that example, setting the standard, and then empowering them to make sure they have everything they want, everything they need, and to be able to do the job good, right? Now the last one, the third one, evaluate and encourage. Evaluate and encourage. Whatever you want to grow, you must measure. Think about it. And in your life, whether it's personal or professional, any area of your life that you want to grow and develop, you need to be measuring. Because if you don't measure it, you cannot manage it. If you don't manage it, you can't grow it. And if it's not growing, it's either dead or it's dying. Let me say that one more time. If you don't measure it, you cannot manage it. And if you don't manage it, you can't grow it. And if you don't grow it, it's either dead or it's dying. Think about it in your relationships. If you're not measuring the things that are important, like are we spending time together? Are we loving each other? Are we communicating? Are we expressing? How do you know if you are or not? You need to measure those things so that way when you start to go down, you start to disconnect, you're not doing as well, you can see that and adjust quickly and not wait for crisis to make that change. If you're measuring, you can adjust before a crisis comes. And now you're not waiting for crisis to make you to do something different because you're measuring. If you measure, you can manage it better. You can grow it better. So with your team, what are you going to measure? What are you going to manage with them? What are the things that you want them to keep growing in? So you need to measure those things and keep track because numbers don't lie. People can lie, emotions can lie, but numbers don't lie. That's why we gotta keep track, keep numbers, and measure the things that are really important that we want those people to be doing. Measure it so you can better manage it. Because when you better manage it, it grows better, right? So make sure you're evaluating. What is your system to do this? You need to sit down, create some space. This is really, really important. Like create like an hour, 2 hours, and make systems for each of these things. For you and your team, okay, throughout the week, a week schedule, how am I going to envision them? Consistently. And really get clear, get my plan, and do it, right? How am I going to enlist them? How am I going to be that example? How am I going to empower them? When am I going to sit down and see what they need, write it down, ask them questions, involve them? How am I going to measure them? When am I going to measure them? How often? These are not just like the 3-month reviews. This is you measuring, tracking their growth and development, their execution, their results, right? So what are you going to track? How are you going to track it? When are you going to track it? Where are you going to log it? How are you going to follow up with it? Like this is something that you need to create a system for, so you're not like when you remember, right? No, this is a non-negotiable, something that you do consistently all the time, because this is key when it comes to communicating, to lead and to sell. You need consistency in these things. Evaluate and encourage. So measure. Keep them on task. Make sure that they're staying on. Share the numbers with them. Help them to project better numbers. And this goes into the last one, which is the encouragement. So now that I'm showing them the numbers, whether good or bad, I'm going to encourage them to do more, right? So this is the last part, encourage. See, when it comes to influencing people and getting them to move and to do something, there's two things that moves them the most, that inspires, that encourages people to do the most. Number one, money. Money, right? Money is a big influencer. So you can use money, whether it's in your business or your family, you can use money as the influencer. You can, and you should. Second one, which I think you should use a lot more, is praise and recognition. Praise and recognition. And that's encouragement. So when you give praise and recognition to your kids, to your spouse, to your team, it feels good. It fills them up. Like it makes them like, thank you for telling me that. Like, man, it's a good reminder. And they respect and appreciate you more. It creates influence because you just spoke into their hearts. You just encourage them. It's like water to their thirsty soul, especially in this life that has a lot of discouragements, a lot of uncertainty, a lot of like people are just anxiety and scared. So just that good word, it's so powerful sometimes. So you as a leader got to be given a lot of those good words. Just encouragement. Like you go into your team and you look at them and think, what are the good qualities about this person? Even if they've made mistakes, I know they make mistakes, but what are the good qualities? What are the good skills in this person? And you just kind of like reach into them and show them, hey, Richard, look, I see this in you. I see that you're a good leader. I see you have potential. I see these. Like encourage them, build those things up, because when you do that, they're going to want to do that more. Those things that you want them to do more of, encourage those things, and they're going to want to do more of it because you're giving the praise and recognition. So if you say, Richard, man, I really love how, when people come and you greet them and you're very warm, you ask them for water and you're very good at connect. Like for me, man, that's amazing, Richard. So guess what? Next time somebody comes in, I'm going to go over there and be like, I'm doing it. It encourages them to do it more. So make sure that you encourage, you build them up, you give them faith, you give them encouragement to keep moving forward. That is very motivating, right? So if you do these 6 things and make them systems, that's the important thing. It's not just about, hey, oh yeah, I understand it. Oh yeah, I do that sometimes. It's about making it a system where you're doing this consistently all the time, because that's going to give you the results that you want. So how are you, with the people that you're leading, how are you going to envision them? What's your system going to be? This is your call to action. You need to create your system. Create space, create some time, an hour, 2 hours, and create a system for each one of these for the people that you're leading, and you will see how this will take your life to another level. What's your system to envision? What's your system to enlist? Example, empower, evaluate, and encourage. Be consistent with this. I'm telling you, it's a game changer. You start communicating to lead and to sell. Your leadership and your sales is going to be at a whole different level because you're applying these 6 habits, these practices of leadership.